But if your phone dies or the network's down, or for some reason GPS isn't working, a paper map is going to be worth its weight in gold. I keep road maps in the car for any state I travel through, typically in a 3-state radius. For local commuting, maybe you want to have some street maps of the region. They're going to be a little bit easier than a regional map of a state. Maybe you haven't touched a paper map in years. Get one, familiarize yourself with it. Topo maps for backcountry terrain, as long as it's not too far. You're probably only going to be able to carry a certain amount of detailed topo maps, and you're probably going to have to get them by town or even smaller areas. So if you're trying to map out an entire state with topo maps, you better carry a suitcase, because you're not going to be able to carry that many maps with you. You're going to want to mark the key routes, your primary route home, at least 1 or 2 alternate routes. Contingency, you want to make sure you mark alternate routes in case of road closures or other dangers along the way. And mark any terrain features, rivers, where there might be food sources, note where there might be bridges. You want to mark the bridges too, because there could be choke points, or the bridges could be out if there's flooding, things like that. Practice shooting a bearing, walking in a straight line. In the woods, if you're right-handed, they say you typically will walk around a tree to the right side. If you're left-handed, typically to the left. So you might think you're walking in a straight line, but if you're always going to the right of trees, you're probably going to start veering off fairly easily. So keep that in mind. That's why you want to be able to pick a point from where you are and know that that's the direction you're going, and keep that straight line so you're not going too far off course. Alternate routes. You want alternate routes. Identify back roads, secondary highways that lead home or lead to wherever your location might be that you're going. This might be a little longer, might be a little slower, but it could be freer if everyone else is on the main roads. Maybe there's a rural road that runs parallel to the interstate. You really should know these options. Contingency routes, those could be a series of local streets or even a path that's not on the road at all. It could mean you ditch the roads entirely, cut through a forest, follow a railroad line or a power line, somewhere that generally goes into the direction where you need to go. And if you map these things out, you'll know where some of these things are. You'll know which railroad goes east, which goes west, whatever the case may be. Maybe you keep a mountain bike in your truck. Maybe you keep a folding bike in the trunk. What if you get stuck 100 miles from home and it's impassable for cars? A bicycle can turn a week-long walk into a 2-day bike ride, or it can turn an all-day ride into, a couple hours on the bike. Bikes don't need fuel. They can weave through traffic jams. They're much faster than walking. And, if you work a commute that's 20, 30 miles and you aren't in the greatest shape to walk it, a bike could get you home in as little as a few hours. But you want multiple transportation options to give you that flexibility. On foot, of course, is going to be an option. Always be ready to be your own motor. The old shoe leather express. That means you need good footwear. So if you're in dress shoes at work, hopefully you stored sneakers or boots in your office or your car. Now, quick note on fuel. If driving is your main plan, please keep your gas tank at least half full at all times. When it gets close to half, fill it up. Don't be lazy. Fill up your gas tank. That's a common rule in the prepper world.